this is the method of sections. It's another way to analyze a truss problem. So let's say we had a truss. Call this A, B, G, C, D, F, and E. And we've got a force acting right here, F. Okay, so we've been asked to find the force in FBC, the force in GC, and the force in GF. So when you're not asked to find every single force for all of the different joints, you can instead use the method of section. So you can see we need FBC, FGC, and FCF. Or, I'm sorry, that was GF. Okay, so FBC, FGC, and FGF. So we can put a section in here. We can cut it, call it section AA. And just like for joints, based on the principle that if the truss is in equilibrium, then any segment of that truss is also in equilibrium. So if we had a segment, just one member of the truss, and it's in tension, and it's got tension T. If we were to cut it at A, then both of these segments would also be in equilibrium. So we'd still have T and the opposite T. And then for the other section, of T and T. So if we go back up here and actually break this down, we would then draw a free body diagram of the new section truss. So we'd have the force F at A, point B, point G, right? And then I draw all the way to section A. And then where I cut, then I have their forces F, B, C, F, G, C, and F, G, F. Okay? And then the other side, it's free body diagram. C, F, D, E. So we would need the external forces. So for the roller, we would have EX. For D, we would have a pin connection, so it's got DX and DY. Right. Let's draw our X and Y axes. Then over here, we would have the equal opposite forces, FBC, FGC, and FGF. So if you're looking at this free body diagram, we want to find FBC, FGC, and FGF. So if we were to sum the moments about point C, So point C is basically this imaginary point in space. And of course point C is where FGC and FBC align. So if you were to sum the moments about point C, these two would cancel because they go through point C, so there's no moment. FGF would create a moment, and F would create a moment. So if you sum the moments about point C, you get what FGF is. Okay, so now we would have this one. You do the same thing with G. Both FGC and FGF go through point G, so they're not going to put a moment around point G, so it would just be FBC and F. So we would then sum the moments about point G to get FBC. And then finally we could sum the forces in the y direction to get FGC. And that's how you would use just a method of sections to solve this. So let's look at the procedure for that. So in method 1, just like in the method of joints, the correct sense of the unknown force can be determined by inspection. The correct sense, aka direction, of an unknown force can be determined by inspection. Okay, and then method 2, you assume that the unknown forces, this is the same as it was for the joint method, so you assume the unknown forces at the cut are in tension, then positive scalars are members in tension, and negative scalars are members in compression. So let's go over the procedure for method of sections. So first you'd have your FBD, your free body diagram, and if necessary you want to draw the entire free body diagram and determine the truss's support reaction prior to cutting. So in that first example that I was looking at, we didn't have to do that. We didn't have to determine the truss's support reaction before we cut. Then you want to cut or section the truss through the areas where the forces are to be determined. Next, you want to draw the free body diagram of the section with the least number of forces acting on it. So when I was showing you how to do method of sections, excuse me. When I was showing you how to do method of sections, I drew both of the sections. But in reality, I only need to draw this one. It has the least number of forces acting on it, as this one has all these reaction forces. So if I were doing this problem, I would have drawn just this free body diagram and then gone through these equations of equilibrium to solve for the all the forces in the members that we wanted. While you're drawing your free body diagram, you can use method 1 or 2 to draw the forces. Then you do your equations of equilibrium. So moments should be summed. About a point, such that only one unknown force forms a moment. If two of the unknown forces are parallel, some forces perpendicular to the direction of these unknown forces to determine directly the third unknown force. So that's what I was doing in this one, right? I summed the moments, and in that case there was only one unknown. Then I summed the moments about here, there was only one unknown. And then finally I summed the forces in the y direction, because these two forces are parallel, such that the third could be solved for directly. And that's it.